Welcome to Love Where You Live, a podcast where we have conversations about why it's awesome to live in Boulder, but not just awesome to live here, but we talk about the awesome things that are happening here in town and in Boulder County. And today, for those of you on YouTube, you've already seen this. Those on audio, this is a first for me. I've got two beautiful guests that are sitting together here with me in the studio, and I will jump right in, introducing right away Catherine Hall and Jessica Trombley. Thank you so much for being here, you two.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Of course. Well, it's exciting for me. One of my favorite things about this podcast, or actually my most favorite thing, is getting to know people that I know a little bit and know them even more. And so I'm super fired up to get to know you two a little bit more. Some of you maybe listening back heard Peter, who is Catherine's lesser half. He was on the show early on, but now we have the real deal here, the real Hall. And I have to say that. That's okay to say, right?
I like that, yeah. I'll take it.
Okay. Good. And then also Jessica, you also have an inferior second half who's in our group. You shine well above Ryan, but he's a fun guy. We just have to give a nod to the fellows who aren't here.
Tease him a little.
We got the A team.
Yeah.
So, and with that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump right in and talk a little bit about the way we normally go. So because you're sitting closest to me, Catherine, we're going to start with you. I know a little bit of the story, but tell us just real quick. You don't sound like you're from here. Where did you grow up? And tell us a little bit where you came from.
I'm not from here. I'm from northern England, so Yorkshire. You might have heard of it. I think you have some connections. So I bounced around in England a little bit. So I kind of lived very far north in a place called Newcastle as I was growing up, which is a big city in the north of England. Then I spent some time in London in my 20s and then ended up back in Yorkshire where I met Peter.
Peter, that guy, Peter.
Peter, yes, I pronounced the T.
Okay, I know, we don't hear, well, anyway, or the R. The R gets lost, right?
A little.
So we swap it. Okay. But so but growing up, this is just always my favorite thing is it just gives me kind of traction on how I'm getting to know you and your story and what brings you to Boulder is what did you do as a kid? What was it like growing up in Yorkshire, London, Yorkshire, kind of what was that like?
So it's funny, most of my childhood, I was growing up on the outskirts of Newcastle.
Okay.
So this big city in the north. And I was in what is now a small town. But at the time, it was still called the village. So it was like tiny little church and tiny little stone bakery near the church and like cute little high street. When I moved there, like age 6, it still had a village feel to it. But now, I haven't been back for many years, but it's much bigger and it's developed a lot. But then I was on the outskirts of the village.
Oh, cool.
So it was very green. It was like farming fields very close to my house. And I remember being outdoors a lot.
Okay.
It's quite funny to me because I feel like I started in a very green kind of countryside, nice landscape kind of place, and then became a city girl. Like, sure. I love the city, and I thought my little town was really dull, and I couldn't wait to leave it. And then spent a lot of time going into Newcastle, the big city, as soon as I was old enough to get on the bus and do that. And then I was very keen to move to London at 21. I was like, yes, let's go to the capital. And then lived in London for quite a long time, which was fun, but crazy and busy and noisy and red buses and all of this stuff. And then ended up, so I was working down in London in my 20s, and then the company that I worked for moved me back up north to Yorkshire, it's a similar vibe to Newcastle. Okay. But yeah, not as crazy as London.
Okay.
And then I met Peter there, and then he was well up for going back to London. So I went back again.
That's a little back and forth. Okay.
But lived further out in Surrey. I don't know if you guys know Surrey. That's on the outskirts of London now. So you're kind of moving out, and there's more green space there. And that's got more of the countryside to it. It's pretty nice. And we had our girls there.
Well, I think speaking for most Americans on the geographic, knowledge, we've heard of most of the names. So a name will come up and you're like, oh, yeah. But then the placement is not always that good.
Yeah.
And so when you said that, Surrey, oh, yeah, it registers. But so your background, though, it's everything. Like you said you started kind of small town. That sounds like the quintessential little, English village. It sounds like that. You can picture it.
It was, but then it was. So people from England who listen to this would think it's funny because Newcastle is not. It's got a very strong accent.
Sure.
Which it's known for.
Did you get rid of yours?
Well, my mum was from the south,
and
my dad was from the north, and then I don't know. Do you know what the honest truth is? When I moved to London, I changed it a bit because it was like a funny thing.
Fantastic.
So I was like, I'll just neutralize a little bit in the business world. It works.
Yes.
And then when my girls were born in the south, they had southern accents.
They did.
So my connections to the south became
right.
stronger.
Oh yes. Okay. Well, that's fun. I want to come back to that, and I love this. We're gonna weave. We're gonna bob and weave, and we're gonna mix. So, Jessica, take us out of rural, or take us out of Newcastle in London. Take us to where you came from and where you grew up, and what was it like, real quick, or as slowly as you want. Quick is not a good adjective.
Well, similar northern funny accent. I'm from northern Minnesota.
Okay.
Also known for maybe having a funny accent, although I feel mostly I don't really have it. It's people think of Fargo, which is technically North Dakota, but they associate it with Minnesota.
Totally.
But I do have my words, bag, like bagging and bagging in the grocery store, kind of the same word. There's a few vowels that pop up.
Yes.
But for the most part, I feel like I have a very neutral accent.
I'll be listening for it now, though, that I remember you're from
you'll
Minnesota.
catch it.
Yes.
It'll pop up.
Oh, for sure. That doesn't count? Yeah.
Yeah. But I grew up in Duluth, Minnesota, which is, a few hours from Canada on Lake Superior. And it's become a pretty cool city as well. When I was growing up, not a lot of variety in restaurants and not a ton of diversity. And it's really kind of improved. We have lots of parades and concerts, and it's become like a fun place to visit. And it's beautiful. It's on a hill. It's on a lake. And similar to Catherine, I just couldn't wait to get out of there.
Sure.
And I think you appreciate those things as you get older, and you're like, oh, this actually was a cool place to be, but
gotcha.
Just want to experience something new.
For sure. And just for those that are listening and are kind of waiting to understand why we're all here together, why you two are together, what fascinates me is when I think about you guys, and I know what you're doing now, and even seeing it described, you guys have described yourselves as kindred spirits, and you're here you met in Colorado. I mean, this at least comes, and so it's fun to see. So you guys, so that's why kind of I'm going back and forth. And then Catherine, all right, so basics, background early. You came here from Toronto, though. You didn't come here from England, so you got around a little bit, right? In those years pre-Boulder.
So Peter was working for Kraft Heinz, a big American company, and they wanted him to move to Toronto and work in sales at the Toronto office. So we had 3 years in Canada, which I always think of as my winter weather training for here. The cold, the snow, that definitely helped with the transition. But we had a great time up there. It was really fun. The winters were pretty brutal. There was a period of adjustment, definitely.
Yes.
But I loved the summers on the lakes and stuff. It was fantastic.
And back in the big city. So you're back.
I'm back in the city. Yeah. So we've gone from green Surrey countryside life to proper concrete jungle. I remember Freya saying, I can't see the sky. This is my daughter, who was like age 6 at the time, and I was like, forgot how much concrete there really is when you're really small.
Right.
But we biked everywhere and walked everywhere. Cool. Like everything was just so close. So we definitely enjoyed what a city has to offer when you're like right in it. But it did mean that after 3 years, when we got the invite to move, we were like, we don't want to be in the city anymore. We need green space, and we really wanted to be in an outdoorsy
environment. Yeah. And then you ended up here. Huh.
Yeah.
That worked. Okay, so that's super cool. Little back history. I want to kind of come back to you in a second. So be ready for me to ask you some real personal questions. But Jessica, what about did you come here from Minnesota? I think I remember that you were in Florida, some other places. Tell me about that journey here.
Hopped around. Duluth isn't a tiny city. It's probably similar size to Boulder, but not close to any big cities. So it feels smaller. So I wanted to go to a big school, went to University of Wisconsin-Madison.
Yeah, cool.
And then when I graduated from there, I knew I wanted to go to a big city, but I didn't really want to do New York or LA like that big.
Sure.
And so I ended up in Portland, Oregon, because it was
fun.
like the smallest big city where I knew somebody and it seemed cool.
Yeah.
So went there, lived there for about 5 years. I met Ryan there.
Okay.
He had moved up from California. And as we were kind of getting a little older, his mom lived in Central Florida, small town, Central Florida. And so we ended up trying that out. I was like, we can always come back. And we have great friends there. His mom still lives there. We love visiting, but we knew pretty quickly that it wasn't going to be our forever home.
Okay.
We had I had a little bit of a culture adjustment moving from Portland, Oregon to Ocala, Florida, horse country, beautiful flat, very small town.
Yes.
And so once our careers kind of got where we could work remotely, we started looking at similar. We wanted kind of a mountain hippie town. So we looked at, Burlington, Vermont, Asheville, North Carolina. Ryan had to fly out regularly. And so some of those things didn't work as well, like smaller airports, harder to get to in the winter, and Boulder, Colorado.
Came up on the radar. And that sounds like you, Catherine. I mean, you guys, what were some on your list again?
That's so funny. We looked at Vermont, really seriously,
that's what I thought.
To the point where we were like looking at houses and travel airport to Chicago and back and stuff. But it was the same reason we couldn't make it work with Pete's job.
Right. Yeah.
And also here, I don't know, you got this amazing winter, and the amazing summer.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
True.
And coming from northern Minnesota, the winter here is it's December right now, and like I almost didn't wear a jacket.
Yeah.
Yes.
This afternoon,
yes.
It's
fantastic. Yeah, there's a good draw. Yeah. So but it's neat. I love this, seeing the parallels, and it's not really a good thing to say parallel because I think you bob and weave, just like this conversation. But so and then you moved here from Florida. You dialed in, and Jessica said, "Boom, we're coming." Yeah.
We had a friend who was his now wife but girlfriend was going to Naropa.
Okay.
So they lived here like downtown off Pearl Street. We came out and we found some rentals on like Craigslist.
Okay. Tell me this is my favorite part in a lot of ways. Tell me where they were. Craigslist, and you're like, boom, I'm going to land where?
So we knew we wanted to be in the mountains. We were like, why would you move to Colorado and not live in the mountains?
Also sounds familiar.
Right.
But...
So a little naive and for a few reasons.
Yeah. Okay.
So we looked up, literally, I didn't know, I'd never even been to Colorado before.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, amazing.
I think we were up like Boulder Heights.
Okay.
We looked at a few.
Yeah.
And then we looked at a house that's actually in our neighborhood, the driveway above Catherine's house.
No way.
We went and looked at it and fell in love and gave the guy like 3 months rent deposit because he didn't want pets, and we had a dog and a cat.
Yeah.
So we were like, what if we give
you
everything, like all this cash and we'll be back in 2 months. We're going to drive out.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah. And so we did. And we had a little fire the second week after we moved in called the 4 Mile Fire.
Yes.
But the house survived. We stayed, and we ended up buying down the road a few years later.
So it's really the only neighborhood that you've experienced.
Only neighborhood we've ever.
That's so cool. I didn't know that. And what year was that again? The fire. I tried to throw out a date that I was totally wrong.
2010. September 6th.
How did time? Roughly.
Yeah,
there you
Memorial
go. 6 p.m.
Day.
Yeah. Well, it's really cool. So
Labor Day.
Labor Day. Yeah. And you found out you were happy up there, and then that's how you guys met. But we're not there yet. I want to. So what? Because this is fascinating to me. The draw for both of you to be outdoorsy, Boulder, you said hippie, a little bit of mountains. So tell me what, we'll start with you, Jessica. Here's what were you doing in Ocala for fun and for recreation and enjoyment? You and Ryan, what was it that said, I have to be in this environment?
I think we just missed that connection. One, Florida's flat.
Sure.
There's beautiful parts, and the beach is amazing. We still love to go visit. But there's just it's just gorgeous here.
It's gorgeous.
I mean, it's undeniable. You come in that road. I remember the first time driving here down, what's the name of the hill?
36, Davidson Mason.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you just see all of Boulder, and you see the Front Range, and you see the Flatirons, and it's incredible.
Yes.
I mean, it's kind of undeniable that it's so beautiful here. Especially the first few times you come to visit, and you've got the hiking and it just kind of had everything. I mean, the airport is an hour
Yes,
away from
easy,
my house.
easy.
So like, 40 minutes from town or
Sure.
something. And you've got Denver if you want the big concerts and the big sporting stuff,
That's right.
and that's just a hop, skip, and a jump away. And so, for us, it meant the hiking, the mountain biking, skiing. Ryan's a big
Yes,
skier.
yes.
I didn't really grow up doing that. I learned how to snowboard when we got
Okay.
here, and he learned with me, which was nice of him because he was already a good skier.
Sure, yeah.
So it was just all those things.
Okay.
You're really
great.
connected here,
That's great.
Like that's what we all love about it, right?
I think so. I think that's huge. Okay, and Catherine, same kind of draw. What was? I mean, you were. I remember talking to you first. You said I do some running. I'm sort of outdoorsy, but not a lot of detail. What were you into? Maybe Toronto or back home in England or any of the above?
I was just thinking it was funny when I started dating Peter. He said to me, "Okay, so I'm going to take you running. I like running, and you need to start running, Catherine." And I was like, "Okay, I want to impress this guy. Let's try this." And then he also said, "I'm going to teach you to ski." And I was like, "Oh," and he was like, "Yeah, this is really important to me. Let's go to France." And then he took me skiing at like age 30. I'd never done it before, and I did love it. I had a great time. So I had like, I don't know, would it have been 4 winters where we went out every year and like big group of friends, and I did love the whole ski vacation in a big group. Up and out and on the mountains, and then obviously après ski is a very big thing in Europe.
Yeah.
So there was it was a very fun thing to do, like in your early 30s. And so when we moved to Canada, we were like, oh my God, we can ski there all the time. But what we kind of hadn't clocked is there's no real mountains in Ontario.
Right.
It's like
Hills.
like you go up the chairlift and then you down the run in like 2 minutes. It's very different. So we went to Banff a couple of times.
Okay.
And Quebec as well. Like we did a few,
Yeah.
but when we realized like we loved the mountains.
Right.
And Ontario didn't have that. But I mean, it had many other things, but didn't have that. So when we were like brainstorming if we were to move to America, because we kind of knew it was coming, but we didn't know when. And we were like, oh, would we pick beach or would we pick mountain? That always used to be like our little discussion of like, what would our future life be like? And then when it came to it, like, actually, we want to be near the mountains. And if you've got amazing summers as well, like I'll compromise my sea and my beach for like just getting out. I feel like you can use the mountains are like a play area all year round.
That's right.
It's very cool.
That's cool. That is super cool. And again, that's fun. It's fun to hear. And you guys sort of had those parallels again, or those commonalities. But nonetheless, I won't dwell on that too much. So you're here. Did you have an equal memory of coming into Boulder for the first time of the beauty?
It's so funny. So we'd like landed the night before from England, and we were in a hotel in Denver, and we got up like super early with jet lag, like 4 in the morning. So we drove. Must have been like 5:30. It was like as the sun had just come up, and then we came over the hill, and I will never forget it. We were just the 4 of us were like, wow. Yeah. And I still think when I go off like back home to England or whatever in the summer and come back, like you still always it gives you a moment of like that same feeling when you drive back in.
For sure.
But now it's amazing because it's like, and it's home.
True.
I'm home.
Yes.
I'm home.
Oh, that's so cool. I mean, I think when I hear people say that, like you guys, I would say like I would challenge you, not just when you go away, just remember, because sometimes we do forget how beautiful it is here.
Oh, for sure.
But every single day I look at those foothills and I think, oh my gosh, like what an incredible spot. This is our backyard.
Yeah.
And I think that the challenge is next time, just when you leave here, again, take in that beauty, because we do start to forget how not everybody has this.
For sure.
It's easy to forget.
Absolutely do. When you're doing
day to day
3 trips to town.
Yeah, the grind.
You're not like, oh, look at this canyon.
I love driving it again.
And so, okay, let's go there. You just brought it up. You both live up 4 Mile. I won't spoil it with the addresses, so you won't get fan mail. But nonetheless, you live up 4 Mile. Yeah. What's it like living up 4 Mile because some of us are drawn to that, but have never made the jump. And I work in real estate. People ask all the time. You guys did. We want to be in the mountains. Tell us about the ins and outs, like top 2 things you love about it each, maybe, and then let's get maybe what are the top 2 drawbacks where you're like, oh, I never thought of this, or I have to sort of get over this hurdle. And we can start with Jessica if you're ready, if you're nodding.
Well, I think so. We moved straight there, so since 2010, so like 14 years up there now. What I love about it is I'm 6 miles from downtown Boulder, and you just feel like you're in the woods. I mean, I can see a couple neighbors, you know, like it's not like I have, you know, complete privacy or I'm on 36 acres or anything. I'm not. I have a couple acres, but you just have like our shades are only drawn if it's to keep the bright sun out because it's July.
Right.
You know, like we have a window in our shower. You know?
So do we.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? It's a mountain thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Come to the mountains.
Look at the sky.
Yes.
Why not?
Yes. 100%.
But like you feel like you're really far from town and you're not.
That's
know?
awesome.
Everyone I work with who is in downtown commutes from, you know,
Somewhere
Lafayette,
else.
Louisville, Broomfield, and the traffic's terrible.
Sure.
And you don't really have that, you know?
Yeah.
So like you're
Love
6 miles and it's 15 minutes to downtown Boulder.
Yeah. So, okay, super. And it's real quiet up there, I'm guessing. I mean, that's just a hunch. You can open the windows and not going to hear a lot of traffic.
No.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
okay.
That's lovely.
What about Catherine? Is there something you'd add there if you had like another plus aside from that, just feeling so far away, even though you're close?
It's so peaceful. And the quiet and the views are just like, it's almost like a comfort when you're like, oh, I'm just in my house and I'm just looking at the mountains. And I don't get tired of it. I'm not used to it.
Good.
It's still, and especially with the changing seasons and the colors and the skies and stuff, like it's stunning. And the girls love it. I thought maybe the girls would be like, oh, I really wish we were in town, but they don't. And we have a lovely little community up there because we do lose power sometimes and we do have bad weather. But I feel like we all look out for each other. We all know each other. You see each other on dog walks and stuff. It's
so good.
The beauty for sure.
Yes.
The beauty and just not, it's funny. I remember when we were looking to buy the house and I had this thing about like, what if a lion attacks me and like, where do we run? And I wanted to be able to see like somebody's house in the trees, but not actually like overlooking them.
Right.
So I know the houses are there and you can see them, but now you do have unbelievable privacy.
Unreal. I love that. Yeah, that's super. That's awesome. And you both have young girls that are in, you know, the middle, elementary school, middle school
This
years.
is where we lucked out because we both have two girls and they're
So good.
virtually the same age.
So good.
Yeah.
So we were like,
Yeah.
there's a family with girls on the road.
How good is that?
It's so good. And everyone gets along.
Yeah.
Yes. Also,
I mean, that's the thing. Like, you just never know. And for us living there had been no girls.
Right.
There had been nobody close to their age.
For 11 years.
Yeah. So when they showed up, it was like they're almost exactly the same age, both sets.
Yeah.
And they get on really well. Catherine and I get on really well. Peter and Ryan get on really well. It was just like,
it's perfect.
so nice.
How good. You can't plan for that. That's the other thing. That's just the universe working
Having
out.
fun in the neighborhood
Totally.
is like, my girls never got to walk to somebody's house to play before. You know, like
And by play you mean drive a 4-wheel vehicle and like
maybe
you know,
we might be the like there's nobody annoying in our neighborhood. We might be the annoying.
it could be us. Oh man, so good. Okay, it's really good. I mean, I love talking about this, and it's fun to hear. For me, it's fun to hear a little bit more in depth some of the stuff that you guys are seeing day to day and getting to know you better. And so let's take that moment to transition a little bit to Boulder. Okay, so let's talk about, you guys said you drive down, you guys are spending some time down here, girls are in school, girls are doing things. What else does it look like for you on a daily basis? How do you interact with our county is what I'm getting at? Like, do you guys ski up Eldora? Where do you go? Do you come down to Boulder? Do you go out for breakfast ever? Where are we going for coffee later? These sorts of things. Like, Ms. Catherine, start with you. Like, when you pop down, what does a day look like here as far as like, you know, really squeezing the lemon of Boulder and getting all the juice out?
So the only thing that I don't love, I love my girls' school so much and they love it, but there is no school bus. So I have to drive down to town twice a day, every day.
You're the school bus.
I am the school bus, and we wave at the other girls on the other bus, and my two wish they were on that bus too.
Yes. Okay.
We're attached to a
So
school. I know. We're like, we're in it. But so I've learned that if I can go down to town and make something for me within that journey, it doesn't feel so much like a chore. Yeah. And it's beautiful. But then when it's snowy or when the weather's bad or like, this is our one thing when you were saying earlier, like, is there a thing? I think once a month during school term, I think about what it would feel like to live in the town.
Sure, of course.
But then I get home and I don't want to leave.
That's it.
Yeah.
But I do, and I'm really... Boulder has done this to me. It's made me like an exercise person. This wasn't me before.
Tell me
but
more.
Is
This
now.
did not happen
Tell
to
me more. Tell me.
But I'm happy for you.
50% success. So like I really love some of the workout studios
Okay.
that we have down in town, and I'll probably do that like at least twice a week.
Like what? Where are we going?
So I love Mecca
Oh, yeah.
resistance training.
Nice.
Like they really helped me when I had knee surgery, get me back up and on my feet. They were brilliant, and I just love that class. And then I know the whole like got aging bones, need to be doing a bit of weight stuff.
Yes.
So I do that at least once a week, and then where else?
Just wait till you're Peter's age. It's really going to all go at that point. Well, younger than me. Anyway, carry on. So,
And then
yeah.
I like to do something called Freedom Movement, which is
where's
a
that?
dance class that I do. It's a dance and yoga, and it's two sisters, two friends of mine, Jessica and Jill, and I do that every Wednesday, and it's like my pick me up in the middle of the week.
How cool.
I love it, and I drag like loads of my friends. Jessica's
I've been there,
been.
and it is fabulous. Yeah.
It's like
churchy,
movement,
feeling a lot.
meditation, amazing energy. So I love Wednesday morning is my favorite, and then so I do school run and I do coffee, a January coffee. Love January coffee, and then we go to the studio for like an hour and a half.
Is it right there? So that's East Walnut kind of January coffee. Is it over there where the studio?
Do you know what? It's near Best Buy. That's all I can tell you.
Okay, yeah. So it's off 30th.
It's in there.
Yeah, same zone. Nice.
So I love that. But I also like Yoga Pod. And I I just have a quick catch up with someone after drop off to like
for sure. Make it kind of like
then-
more bang for your buck.
then
there.
head back up the mountain / go to work.
Right.
And then have my full day and then back down.
Yes.
3:30.
I love that.
And if it's a long day, if it's a 5 o'clock finish, I'm like, yes, I didn't have to go down until 5.
That's good. Okay. Yeah. And then and I know now for you, Jessica, where are the girls going to school? They're on the bus to
Manhattan.
Manhattan.
We've kind of hopped around a little
Yeah.
bit. But both of them are now at Manhattan, and they love it. And
Yes.
we love it. And we're
Fantastic.
doing tryouts for the spring theater
Oh,
show.
so cool. Is that 6th and 8th grade or
6th and 7th?
6th and 7th. Yeah, they're close. Yeah.
Yep, 6th
So
and 7th.
cool.
And they went to, we kind of hopped around. They were at Creekside Elementary and then Flatirons, which is our home school. Then Azure went to Casey. And now they're both Manhattan.
Manhattan, I like it.
Yeah, Manhattan's been great.
Yeah.
And we really like it. And all the schools were great. We had other personal reasons for kind of moving them around based on other businesses we own. We had a business in Broomfield, so South Boulder made sense. But I think overall, you can't really go wrong in Boulder. The schools here, from the public schools that we've had experience with to like Catherine's school, there's amazing options for education.
That's so true, and that's something I think we're really special there, because if you want to go, because your girls are at Mountain,
The
Shining
Waldorf
Mountain,
School,
and it's one of the brilliant private schools that we have, and you guys love it. I remember you going there thinking, I'm not sure we'll love this. But you absolutely love it.
It was a conscious decision when we came here. We're like, we really want to try this.
Yeah.
Freya's got dyslexia, and she was just such an outdoorsy kid, and we really loved the whole outdoor education piece around that school offered. No technology, and she really loved like the arts and struggled more with the maths and the language arts. So then having a schedule that really like gave a really rounded variety of subjects that both of the girls like, they love that.
So good. Yes. Awesome. I know. And you can't go wrong. And then the public's, and actually Valentine's going to go to Manhattan next year.
Nice.
They have a dual language program there. And so she's going in for that. And we toured all the middle schools. It's a thing.
Yeah,
you tour
it's a
middle
thing.
schools here in Boulder.
Because open enrollment.
Because of
You
open
can
enrollment.
choose.
Yeah.
But it's neat. It's good for people to know that don't know about our schools. They're all fantastic. You're never going to make a bad decision. It's
The Boulder Valley
just
School District is amazing.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's
Living
unbelievable.
in other states, we didn't have kids elsewhere.
Right.
The part of why we didn't want to have kids in Florida. No offense, Florida. There's great school districts, but it's just a very completely different world.
Yeah, and you have to live in those districts.
Yes.
It's not as common to be able to open enroll. And so, well, that's enough. I love it. I could talk sort of all this stuff. So we're talking, and then Jessica, some highlights of a Boulder day for you, just because it's fun for me to kind of see you in action.
Yeah, I mean, like coffee-wise, we've got amazing coffee. Ozo, Boxcar, Biddy and Bo's I've been going to a lot, and they have amazing hot chocolate. Have you been to Biddy and Bo's?
No.
On 5th, right off Pearl Street.
I love
15th.
15th and Pearl. Okay, right there where the walking mall starts.
It's right behind Postino's.
Gosh,
it's amazing.
Score.
It's kind of like a social movement too, because the people who founded it have 2 children with Down syndrome, and they were disappointed in the limitations for work. And so the atmosphere is great. Everyone who works there is amazing. Coffee's great. And I don't know what they put in the hot chocolate, but it is seriously the best hot chocolate.
It's probably real chocolate.
I've ever had. Yeah. So bring the kids. And
What's it called? Biddy and
Bo's.
Bo's.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Write that down. I'm
Yeah.
going.
But I mean, Sudi & Co.
Yeah.
is adorable.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
And that's on 16th, is it? I want to say. So any of those things,
There
we'd
you
love to
go.
grab a coffee. We've got 2 giant dogs. Ryan's favorite thing is to bring, we can really only handle one at a time, down and walk around and get a coffee because so many people stop and
Yeah.
talk to him and take pictures with the dog.
Right, of course.
He feels like,
Fancy.
famous person.
Yes.
Yeah.
Loves
So
that. Okay.
That's favorite. And then, I'll just basically wandering around.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, well, that's Boulder. So, all right, let's talk a little bit. Now, here's a fun thing for me, and maybe we grab this bottle over here for those that are on YouTube. You can see this. We're going to talk about this because I know the spoiler, but I want you to tell me, pretend like I know nothing. Mm-hmm. So, what are we doing now? You mentioned the work and the stuff you're doing. Let's talk about what you guys have done and how we're spending our days from a work standpoint today. Your passion is your work, and what have we got here?
So, in 22, which actually I didn't put together as the year we met, because we were doing Sober October together as like a team effort, you know, and we basically went separately to look at different options we could buy to enjoy while we were doing Sober October, make it more fun. And being Colorado, we kind of assumed we could buy a non-alcoholic spirit that had CBD in it because,
it's Colorado.
Yeah, exactly. There's
and it was in everything.
It was in everything. And we weren't even looking for a THC product, just CBD, which seems so much milder in comparison at the time. And, her husband Peter runs and you had a knee injury. And so we were kind of, both families were using CBD for different things. And it just seemed like it'd be a good fit. And we couldn't find anything. We thought it was crazy that we couldn't find this in Colorado. It seemed like something that would be multiple options for. And, neither of us were doing anything work-wise at the time, and we're trying to think of different things to start up. And so we were like, could we make our own non-alcoholic spirit with CBD? Like, I don't know.
I feel like it was Ryan who was like, yeah, you two could do this.
Would that be crazy? And so we were like, let's do it. And, we did it.
We made a little drink in our kitchens.
And we have that drink right here. And what do we decide? Well, I want to hear why we called it this. But tell everyone what we got here. It's called Tweedle Botanicals. I'll say it.
Yeah, Tweedle Botanicals. It's a non-alcoholic spirit sold in a 750 milliliter bottle, like a gin bottle, basically, or a whiskey bottle. And it's used that way. You just pour 1.5 ounces to 2 ounces, mix it. You could drink it neat if you'd like.
It's got a lemon and ginger and cardamom flavor, and then the hemp gives it like a nice bitterness as well. So it's kind of feels like an adult drink when you have it. It's not like sweet.
Right.
And then as Jessica said, you easily mix it with tonic and a slice of orange, or you can use it quite interchangeably in a lot of mocktails. So like margaritas and Cosmos, and just
Paloma,
get a bit creative.
Ranch water, exactly.
Yeah.
So good. So, this is the question I'm dying to know. Why? But you said a little bit of the injury, the running. Why were you saying we have to have this with CBD? That's so cool, but it's so curious. And obviously, it was a big question. It wasn't out there.
Yeah, we wanted it.
Yeah,
and kind of assumed it would be readily available because everything is.
Well, it's funny because I injured my knee skiing my first winter here and had surgery, and I was using like a CBD, like a pain relief balm, and it was really helping. This was after surgery, just kind of as I was using it, and it was aching. And then Peter was training for his first 100 at Leadville.
Right.
His 100-mile run, and he was just finding that sometimes to help him kind of calm down after a long day's training, he was doing some of the CBD gummies.
Leg twitches and stuff,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
And that was just kind of helping chill him out. So
Topically, you guys were both topically, though. He was ingesting
he was
a little bit.
Stuff,
Yeah,
and I was using topically. So it was kind of a new thing that I was interested in. And then they had the seltzer waters were everywhere. I feel like they were popping up in coffee shops, and we would. So it was very when we were in Canada, CBD had also become legal. Marijuana was legal over there. So it entered my conscious when we were there, and then it was here too. And so I think we were just like, I'm sure there'll be something like this. We'll do this when we do dry October.
I also think having some functional component when you're having an alcohol alternative feels good. You feel like you're getting something for that besides
100%.
Besides just
skipping
water
the So it's like I'm not only am I skipping alcohol, but I'm also doing something that's healthy and overall good. I'm adding something of value.
Yeah. Getting something that has some functional component.
For sure.
So the two big things were flavor, have something that tastes like an adult drink, not
Right.
juice.
Yep.
Try to keep the sugar content low, and then have a functional component so you feel like you're getting like giving up this, but you're getting this. You're still getting something.
Totally.
So some people like feel they have a good night's sleep after they've had it, sleep benefits or any kind of
calming.
inflammation, you know.
Right.
But it's not going to get you high. That was never the intent.
And most people here in Colorado are starting to pick up on this. But tell us the difference there. How does that happen? If it's coming all sort of from the same plant, not super scientific here, but what's the breakdown? What are we missing in this bottle that's
Sure.
not getting me high?
It can get real complicated, and we find that is an issue, especially in other states where they do like Delta 8 and Delta 9s. But to keep it real simple,
That sounded fancy.
Yeah, the marijuana plant and the hemp
Right.
plant is the same plant.
Yes.
It's just that one has been cultivated to have very high THC levels.
Okay.
And hemp is more industrial usage.
Right.
And so it's more kind of the way the plant comes, which has a very low amount of THC naturally.
Sure.
And so when we first looked at this, we were going to do what they call full spectrum, which is exactly, because there's lots of other cannabinoids. There's THC, there's cannabinoids, there's terpenes. And so using that full plant, they all work together to kind of enhance those functionalities.
Right.
But as we started understanding more the nuances, in order to sell or have Tweedle served at a restaurant or bar with a liquor license, they're allowed 0 THC.
Gotcha.
So we basically worked with suppliers to be able to find a broad spectrum, is what they call it, where it's not full, not everything. And basically just to remove the THC components and keep all the other cannabinoids and terpenes so that we get as much of that full plant without having the THC.
Okay.
So we can make sure it's marketed. Because we really see it as being, you go out to a nice dinner like at Faro and Niwot, and they serve Tweedle, and you're not drinking, but you want to have a beautiful drink that tastes like an adult drink.
Right.
We wanted to make sure that was an option, both from a business standpoint and for the consumer.
Totally. No, 100%.
I never wanted it to be something that had enough THC to get people high.
Get people, for sure. That was never the goal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a million ways to do that.
Yeah. We're not here trying to reinvent that wheel.
Exactly.
No, it's good. I specifically remember the day when Catherine said, "Hey, it's what we're thinking about doing. What do you?" Immediately, I was like, "No brainer. It's perfect. It's like you two, great team. Secondly, that product here in town and beyond. I mean, obviously, we're not just selling it to Boulder, but like as a launching pad, a healthy crowd that understands the value of abstaining from alcohol, not getting high, recovering, feeling better, sleeping better, sore muscles, all that stuff. It's a no-brainer. I think and I know we're still early. So you guys came up with the concept. You put all this research in, which is fascinating. And then what? When did we launch? How long have we been on the market?
So we launched in March.
I'm on the board or something.
Yes, join the board.
How long have you been on the market?
Yeah, so we launched in March this year. So it took like a year and a half from having it as like our little kitchen recipe that we could brew at home to, getting it done with a manufacturer at some scale. But yeah, we've been on the market for 9 months now.
Very cool.
So it's very exciting. And then we're selling to a handful of the bars and restaurants here in town. And we have a sales team now who sell across Colorado, which is super exciting.
Exciting.
Classic Beverage Co. Shout out.
Yeah.
Classic Beverage Co.
And then we sell through the website across the country.
Okay.
As well.
Okay. So you can pick it up. And tell me, what are we allowed to say the restaurants? I know you said Faro in Niwot, one of my favorite restaurants. And they have it. I've had it. I've drunk it there. I've consumed it. What else is there here in town? Where can we find it if we go out for a drink?
Rosetta Hall.
Nice.
Rayback.
For sure.
Gold Hill Inn.
Gold Hill Inn.
Of course.
One of our favorites.
Yes. Mountain, great spot. And then, Hazel's and Wine Merchant.
Yeah.
And
North Boulder Liquor.
North Boulder Liquor. Yep.
And then if you were going to make me a drink right now, let's say we're about to have a nice, how you mix it? What's your favorite, or do you have the same favorite? You're just going to say, here, I want you to enjoy this.
I think our go-to is Tweedle with tonic.
Right.
And if I have grapefruit, I'll use grapefruit, but otherwise orange slice.
Okay.
And that's just easy, and it's refreshing, and it tastes like a cocktail.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, my favorite go-to.
It's the easiest way to serve it.
Yeah.
But we use that when we're tasting or events and stuff.
Yes.
People generally try it like that just so they can get the taste of the Tweedle flavor before they add other stuff to
All
it.
the other stuff,
if I'm going fancy, like I'm going to have people over, I'll batch make a Cosmo.
Whoa.
I know that that's one of our favorites.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah.
you're doing fresh squeezed juice. You know, you're not going to do that necessarily on a Tuesday.
Okay.
Maybe you
Yeah.
are. You should.
Maybe.
You
We
know,
ought to.
treat
Nice
yourself.
glass, exactly.
Yes.
But so that's another favorite. And then another easy one is just like a ranch water where I'll use a little lime juice, a little pinch of salt, and then like Topo Chico if I have it.
Yes. Straight
Yeah.
up ranch
What about
water.
you
Well done.
besides those ones?
I still quite like, you can get some really nice grapefruit tonic waters.
Right.
And the grapefruit with a slice of grapefruit on the top is really
Right.
nice. And then even just adding some tart cherry juice to the tonic
yeah.
and it like gives
Cherry
it,
juice.
and I feel like this time of year, because it's cold, like having a nice red coloured drink.
Feels warm.
It feels warm.
Forgot
That's
about
a
tart
good
cherry
trick.
juice.
I
Wow.
love that. And then it's meant to help tart cherry juice.
Those
meant
are
to help you
good
sleep, so.
suggestions.
Yeah,
Oh man.
tart cherry
Tart
juice
cherry
has
juice.
natural melatonin. So
And no, for sure. I was just thinking back. We were all at Corita. They had it there for that fun event.
Yeah,
Yes.
And that was so cool because I was watching people. I was standing. I hadn't even seen you guys yet. We were late arriver, and people were coming up, and they're like, "Hey, this like we're selling it for you." So one individual was selling it to her friend, saying, "You've got to have this," and they were asking for it, and I had to line up to get my Tweedle and Tonic which is super cool.
Love
that was
that.
fun. We had it. We were their signature non-alcoholic drink for this party that they had,
that
and it was
party.
a lot of fun. And we still have faith. We'll get in there.
Yeah, we'll get
We're
in
gonna
there.
be
We
on
got
the
some
menu.
connections. We'll get you in there.
Yeah,
I
'cause
think we can do it.
Gin and tonics is like their thing,
Yeah.
and they already do a beautiful job with
Yeah.
their gin and tonics. So we just
Well.
need to get on that cart and
Yeah.
have a nice elevated local
Yeah.
option.
Non-alcoholic.
100%.
local. Yeah.
Yes. All right. No, but I just remember that was super neat for me to see that, in the wild and
Yeah.
people repping you guys,
Yeah.
just genuinely. It's
That was
fun
a
to see
fun
that.
party.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a fun party
Yeah.
too. Incredible music. So, all right, that's good. And so overall, would we say like thumbs up? Business is going well. We're loving what we're doing. Why do I keep saying we? I don't get to be a part of it. You guys?
It's okay.
I like to be we.
Yeah.
I like to include myself.
Tweedle is a we type of
Thank you.
Yeah,
endeavor.
yeah,
Yes.
It
absolutely.
takes
Yeah.
it takes a village.
It does. It does. Yes, with two champs at the top of the list. So are you guys doing well? Do you love how it's going so far?
Yeah, I think that it's hard to start a business.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially one where, Catherine has a marketing background, which has been great because she has an amazing eye. And, I have had a couple businesses with Ryan, but it's just a huge learning curve.
Yes.
And it's a lot of work, but it is worth it and it's fun. And when we do events where people taste it for the first time, it's amazing.
That's
That's
gotta
like
feel
the
good.
best
Yes.
part,
Yeah.
to have somebody taste it and be like, oh my God, this is so good. Like,
Yes.
and then they buy bottles because now they're like, oh, this is now like a great option for me if I want to have a drink, but I don't want to have a drink, or
Right.
for parties like holidays and stuff.
100%.
Yeah.
No, I love it. And I think what's cool though, and this is looking at a business. You guys found 100% the problem, and you created a solution for it. Which everything I understand about business is that's the nature of it. You have a problem. There's no good CBD drink that's non-alcoholic that tastes good and nice clean ingredients. You guys had that problem. You've solved it, and then you love it. You're passionate about it. That's huge because it is a grind
Yeah.
to work, and
Yeah.
if you love your product, then you guys are gonna crush it. So
Do you know what I really love? When someone in like New York or California or Texas or wherever
Yeah.
has found us and like
Oh,
order it, and I'm
yes.
like, I'm sending it to all these amazing
So cool.
places.
Right.
It's funny, my friends and family in the UK are like, please come to England and sell it. And I'm like, guys, honestly, I've got a lot of selling to do here first.
that's gonna
Can you give me just a bit more time?
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. It's like Boulder's been amazing at getting behind the
Yes.
product, and it's so nice to like when we will run ads or whatever, and someone's like, "Oh my goodness, I saw this on my Facebook
Very
or whatever."
cool.
And even we're part of the Naturally Boulder. It's like a food networking,
Organization.
natural products.
Super.
That's been a great help for us. So I think it's like here and within our immediate like circles and town and community,
Right.
I feel like it's going well, but it's like the tip of the iceberg.
Totally.
There's so
Yeah.
much to do, and there's the whole having a product with a CBD element to it has been really tough, and it's been a lot
Sure.
of
Yeah. We were maybe a little naive
Yeah.
on the additional regulations and
Regulations,
restrictions.
for sure.
Yeah.
Even though there's no THC, I think we were like, oh, who cares? It
Yeah.
doesn't get you high. But
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of
and sometimes it's just lumped in with products which do.
Yeah.
Like they treat it the same way. So
Right.
it's just been, it's often 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, but
Sure.
we just keep Going.
Keep
Yeah,
on. That's
exactly.
the one net gain. And you guys made me think about, I chatted here several weeks ago with Justin Gold, who started Justin's Nut Butter.
Oh, I
Yeah.
think I heard that.
And
one.
what's
That's
cool is and this is where you guys need to maybe meet him, because one of the things that he is very passionate about sharing is that when he started his company, all of those companies here in Boulder, all those great, brands were supportive and sharing, and they wanted to see him rise. They wanted to help,
Yeah.
and I think he's extremely into that. Now he works with Rudy's bakery, and they're here in town, and he's doing stuff for them.
Right.
But I think that for you guys to get in and get some lift from those people would be huge, because they do care about you. They want you to succeed, and you know their products, and they need to know yours, so you guys can learn from them and have that lift. I think that's just one of the special things about Boulder.
Do you know what? I felt
agree with
that
that.
when we've done some of the like tasting events, and you'll start chatting to the people who are around doing the same things, and then like we're still in touch with some of them, and
That's cool.
it's really nice to feel like you were in it
Yeah.
together.
People
Yes.
want you to succeed.
Right.
You know, it's some like Duluth is amazing, but there's definitely a mentality of like, ooh, like getting like like talking about starting a business just seems crazy. I feel like, not to call it Duluth in a bad way, but just that's where I grew up. It was a different kind of mentality.
Yeah.
I feel like here there's so many entrepreneurs in a sense,
Yes.
where that spirit
Yes.
is just like, yeah, you should
Yes.
do that.
Yes.
Whatever it is, like,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
that totally makes sense.
Yes.
You should absolutely go for it.
Agreed.
And also, like, I know someone who you should speak to.
Yes.
You hear that, and
Yeah.
and that has been a lot of how we've got ourselves established and
Right.
at
Good.
scale, because people were like, "Let me put you in touch with
Yes.
so and so."
Yes. Well, I'm a fan of both of you and the product. And I think that this is something that if there's a way I can help connect, and hopefully someone listening is like, oh my gosh, they didn't know about it, and they can help share and experience Tweedle as well.
Yeah.
What's the website called?
It's
Yeah, that's right.
tweedlebotanicals.com.
Tweedle Botanicals. Yep. Easy. Don't.
Instagram, Facebook.
Yes.
Like
all
and
the-
follow people.
Yes, like and follow. Yes, we should do a giveaway here. Why don't we do that? If you're listening, this is what we'll do.
Okay.
Lovato Properties, we're going to sponsor the podcast and the Tweedle. And so here's what this means. If you guys listen through this and you comment, you guys come up with a comment word in the comments, or you reach out on Instagram or any of the things.
Either love where you
We're-
live or Lovato.
love-
Maybe.
What do you want to say?
Either love where you live or Lovato.
Okay, on Tweedle? Well, I was going to give it away. I've got some. I'm buying the giveaway.
Oh,
So they have to comment something for you,
okay.
for me.
Okay.
So what it'll be? Just Tweedle? No, it has to be
I love
something
Tweedle.
catchy.
Yeah. What? Tweedles? Fine.
Tweedle.
Keep
It
it
has to be
simple, right?
what's something. If you just give a comment, I'm going to give out some Tweedle, because I think I actually have some left over from our Easter party. But nonetheless, I'm going to buy
We've
some
got
Tweedle.
plenty, too,
We're going to
to
give it
have.
because this will be fun. Because
yeah,
for
yeah,
me,
we
it's all
can
about
donate.
trying it out, right? So
Yeah.
let's get some listeners. If the first 3 people that say that they want Tweedle, however you do it, let us know, either Instagram or YouTube or any of the things. Then we're going to get you some Tweedle compliments of me. And you're going to love it. And then you're going to use one of these recipes. Yeah, that'll be fun. Because getting it out there, people have to try this.
Yeah. It
So
makes
good.
a big difference because people don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
It's not like a vodka or a tequila. It has its own unique flavor, which is,
Totally.
I think, an issue for all the NA brands is how do people know that it's worth spending the money and that they're going to enjoy
Right,
it.
you got to sample it. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's fun. Okay, super cool. Let's do this because I love doing this, and it'd be fun for me if you guys kind of do what sometimes. Well, everyone has to do this. This is the bottom line. You guys, I want to hear what it sounds like to have a perfect day in Boulder. This is my favorite thing to go through this. So you can pick a day, summer, winter, spring, fall, anything you want. It can be with the girls, with the husbands, solo, together. It can be anything you want. And just walk us through how you guys would just really love to spend a day in Boulder County, start to finish. And whoever, just don't raise your hand both at once because only one can go at a time. But who wants to share that perfect day? Because this is fun for everyone to hear.
I can go first if you want.
Go for it.
Let's do it.
So I'm going to go summer.
Summer.
And one of our favorite things is to go to the farmer's market. I think people have mentioned this before. But we like set up a blanket and camping chairs and we're like hanging out.
Okay.
And then friends know, like Catherine and her family or other friends, that they can just show up, sit down, hang out for an hour. There's usually some music going on nearby. And we'll just hang out there for a few hours. And then I love a consignment shop or thrift shop.
Okay,
And
tell
I
me
got
more.
2 girls.
Tell me.
And at least one of them usually is down for a
Yeah,
good,
for a
like,
shop.
hunt and gather. So like Common Threads.
Right.
Love common
You know, Garage Sale Vintage is a little like more edgy and rock and roll. There's this great place in Lafayette called Underground Found. You know, they've already gone through and made sure everything looks good. They've got a really good eye. There's one called Regs on 28th Street. So a few hours maybe doing that. And then get some snacks like Hapa Sushi is a favorite.
Yes.
Right? They do such a good job. Even the girls love eating there.
Nice.
Maybe Avanti for some pizza from that top level is really good.
Oh, amazing.
And then maybe end the night,
right?
Because this would probably be a Saturday, with Ryan and I having a date night and Gold Hill Inn for some like concert that's going off up there.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
what a day!
They do serve Tweedle as well.
They do.
At the
And
Gold Hill.
yeah, and then
That's
wake up
it.
feeling great the next
Wake
day
up
because
feeling-
danced
yes.
all night and drank Tweedle and tonics and do it all over again.
There you go. Yeah. And that sounds like that's a snapshot. And you know what's cool too? Because yes, I've heard people say something about the farmer's market, but your experience is totally different. You're not like walking the street up, down, gone. You're spending hours there. You're hanging out.
Oh, yeah.
That's cool.
Like
And
we have lunch, the food there.
It's,
Oh,
the food
it's
there
the
is
best.
amazing.
It's
The
the
pizza's
best.
great.
Yes.
I like their like noodle, the Thai place there, or
Right.
the Vietnamese place there
Yes.
with the noodle bowls and the
That's so good.
Right.
Well
Oh, so
done.
good.
I like it.
Yeah.
Good day. I can't wait.
chai
just
from the tea
invited
house.
myself. Okay. Catherine, what do you think? What's a day in the life? The ideal Catherine Hall
Okay,
day.
here we go. Because this is what Jessica just described, a very similar summer day. We do a lot of that. Of
course,
It's
yeah,
kind of
that
a
happens.
roll on
Yeah.
a Saturday in the summer. Okay, so I did this the other week with some friends and it was really nice. I went to the tea house, Duchambe Tea House, for
Right.
breakfast.
Ooh.
I'd never done that before.
Me neither.
And it was just like the most lovely place to start the day. It's like all plants inside, sun shining through all these huge windows. The food was great. I always think of it as like an afternoon tea spot. And obviously I'm English. Like a cup of tea is very important to me with the
Yes.
cakes and all the things. So we always do that. It's like one of our go-tos when people come to visit. Oh, let's do afternoon tea at the tea house. But yeah, my new favourite breakfast spot, I think, might be there.
Wow.
It was really,
Amazing.
really lovely. Then I'm going to go to Yoga Pod and do hot yoga. Drag one of my friends with me, but we all love it. And then I'm going to head back home and chill for a bit in the afternoon, I think, freshen up. And then go out for dinner on Pearl.
Where and with whom and what are you having?
I might take Peter for dinner.
You might. It just
Might.
depends on how he does in that hangout time. Yeah. Okay.
So I do love Hapa and Japango. How funny to
Right.
me. I still think it's funny that we have like amazing sushi restaurants
Middle of the
in like the
country.
middle of Colorado. It's just really cool. But maybe I'll go to the kitchen. I always really like a meal at the kitchen.
Okay.
And it's a little bit fancy in there, so maybe I've dressed up and stuff.
Super. Beautiful. What a
Yeah,
day.
yeah.
What a day. Now, you guys, and Hapa, Japan, both of those two are incredible. And because it's fresh on my brain, you may have been to this already, but I went there yesterday for the first time. And I don't know how you say it because I don't know Japanese, but it's Aoi. I don't know. I'm messing it all up. Aoi. You would never stumble upon this unless you tried. It's on 30th next to Vic's and the
heard
Wells
about
Fargo.
this.
You guys have to go. And this is Hop is my fave. Japango, love that place. But this, wow. And there's a bunch. Sushi Tori, you got a few over there in that zone.
yeah.
Go over off Pearl Street. Lunch. I think they were closing 2 or 2:30. I don't know if they do dinner. I really know very little, but I know that I had some food yesterday, some sushi that was stellar. I mean, it was like, whoa. So put that down.
Oh, that's a great tip.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't
Yeah.
know. I hadn't heard of that.
Yeah.
It's just,
I had one group of friends tell me about it, and then I promptly forgot.
Little
You
sleeper.
can get stuck into the Pearl Street.
totally
Yeah.
easy to do. And you guys mentioned that, and it is so quintessential Boulder. But sometimes you're like, I don't want to. I had no trouble parking. I drove right up. I sat there. I met my friend. With my friend Phil, got a nod to Phil. He invited me. And it was just like we sat down, had this. And this, I'll just part with this before this becomes a sushi show. That we were trying to order a salmon nigiri. And she said, let me suggest you try the salmon belly. Ooh. We got each. Try that. I'm not an expert over there, but I had the salmon and then the salmon belly. The salmon belly. Crazy.
Oh, really?
I mean, it's just wild. This little place, and they're all little row up. It's a cool spot. So check it out. Put that on the list. But
Awesome.
Your guys' perfect days were pretty awesome, and I know you guys do that a lot. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
That's very cool. to close that loop.
There's a lot of variants to that list too.
I know. I love it. No, it's very good. Well, this is another question that I'll throw at you both and say, well, we kind of talked, you saw maybe a little outline, we've covered some fun stuff. Is there something that maybe I did a poor job and forgot to ask you? I'm sure I did a poor job plenty of times, but something you guys wanted to share that I maybe left off the convo?
Nothing that you missed. I think we have some fun things heading into dry January.
Yes, I want to hear about them.
Right now, I know we're going to do Pharaoh does a monthly cocktail lesson or something.
Yeah.
So we're going to do a mocktail for dry January with them.
So tell me what that means. They're teaching? They're teaching us how to do it.
I think people sign up for a class and they'll do different drinks, recipes.
How fun is that?
I think Noah's quite a mixologist.
Yeah.
He's very good at
how
the
fun.
different
portion,
flavors.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fun.
So
that's when? We know that's just in January.
That's the end of January.
Okay.
I think it's the last weekend of
Very
January.
cool.
Yep. And then, follow us on Instagram because we might have some tastings. We've done tastings at Wine Merchant and Hazel before.
Yes.
And so we just have some dates up in the air maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, if you follow us, we'll announce anything.
Yes, you got to be following Tweedle Botanicals and go to the website, give them the like and the follow.
Yes,
and so the other than, I mean, this is a perfect time. Dry January is the time people try and lay off the booze if they're boozing.
Yeah.
Try and go the whole month. Sometimes it lasts a whole year.
Yeah.
Or forever. So that's pretty awesome timing that we're sitting here. We'll hold this episode just to right after launch it at the beginning of the year. People are going out. 31st.
And we're still growing here. We just started with the liquor distributor with Colorado with
So
Classic.
cool.
The end just 2 months ago. So if you're out, ask if they have Tweedle. Because they might not, but then they'll hear about us.
But yes, very cool. Well, that's so. And any other add-ons, Catherine, that we kind of left unsaid?
I feel like we nailed it.
We nailed it.
Yeah.
I agree. I'm not surprised though.
Yeah,
with
it's a
you
lot
two.
of fun.
Very cool. Well, this is awesome, and I appreciate you guys taking the time. It's so fun to sit and chat and get to know you and share the amazingness of Tweedle with everyone.
Thank you, Michael.
Of
Yeah,
course.
thank
Thank
you,
you very much. And we'll just sign off as we always do and encourage everyone who's here listening to go out and do something that you love.